calcium and magnesium we need for our bones and our tissue is a much higher amount than you would get from ever drinking the water. In fact, if you drank water that had enough magnesium and calcium in it, you'd probably get kidney stones before the benefits from that.
And that water would taste horrific.
Welcome to the Water Guys podcast. My name's Louis Borges. Joining me, as always, my good friend, co-host, business partner, all-round good guy, Mr. Shane McCarthy.
Well, I appreciate that. I feel the same way about you, my friend.
And I wasn't even sponsored or incentivized to say that. It's just how I feel.
The check is in the mail, bro.
The check's coming. So let's do another one of these bad shows.
Do that anymore?
Where we educate. Yeah.
Sorry?
I said, let's do another one of these episodes where, again, everybody knows we sell products, but that's not the point of this show. You'll notice there's no commercials. This is not a monetized channel. We're not making a podcast to make money. We're making a podcast to inform people, give them some things to think about, give them some products to consider, and then open the doors of communication. If you have any questions, if you're just starting to learn about water, hydrogen, the healing benefits that come from using water in your life, that's what we're here for. So we're going to talk about a new product that we have. But first, we want to explain the world of filtration and reverse osmosis, or RO. So there's a lot of terms, a lot of different systems out there that use RO. They are definitely not all the same. Some of them are very archaic, which we'll show you. Some of them have improved. And then we have some top of the line leading edge stuff that is coming out now, and we have a brand new product that we can show you as well. So, Shane, you've been in the water filtration world and hydrogen for like 10 years. What are sort of the most common things people ask you when it comes to filtration, or what are some of the myths people believe, like, I'm good and this is what I'm using?
Well, I mean, I get questions of all different sorts: structured water, reverse osmosis, distilled. What's the best for me? And you know, there's a lot. I would say the water filtration world and industry is confusing, to say the least. And that's exactly why you and I do what we do, is to help clear up some of that confusion so that you can make an informed decision for you and your family's health when it comes to your water choices and the type of water that you're ingesting. Let's make one thing very clear. Drinking water and hydrating are not the same thing.
Yeah.
They don't always go hand in hand. And I have found from my experience in the water industry that a lot of water is not hydrating you at all. And some water is dehydrating you, which is crazy to think about. But we got to understand where the water is absorbing into your body and what type of filtration you're using. And another thing I'd like to say too is, it doesn't matter where you live. At this point, there's no way that you shouldn't be filtering your water. You and I live in British Columbia. British Columbia is known for having some of the best water in the world. I would never drink hot tap water.
That's correct. Yeah.
I mean, the machine that we installed a couple of weeks ago in Mission's where you live. I mean, she poured me a glass of the tap water, and I smelt it, and it was like Ron Burgundy with sex pants. It stung the nostrils. You know, it's like it actually burned my nostrils. I'm like, what the? Like, how could anybody be drinking this or bathing and showering? And it's like, holy crap! But because it changes you do your best too until you know better, and then you do better.
That's right. I've seen on, like Facebook community groups that are usually talking about like, when is recycling day, but talking about water. And they're like, hey, why is the water in my toilet bowl brown all of a sudden? And then people will chime in with their comments and say, oh, they switched our source from this reservoir to this reservoir. City says it's good. Just, it's going to be like that a couple days. I don't see it because I'm filtering my shower water, my drinking water. It's only the toilet really that would show that. But the point is, if it weren't for the coloration, nobody would even be any wiser that their water suddenly went from being mediocre to poor. Yeah. And that especially happens in the world of well water. A lot of people have this false conception that, hey, I'm on well water, I'm good. Okay, when's the last time you tested that well water? I guarantee you
Mhm.
it's a lot longer than you should be, because it's not
Mhm.
cost effective to test it weekly or monthly. And your water can change based on, toxic fallout 10 miles away. Something gets in
Yeah.
a water table, or you have heavy rains, pesticides are now washing in the system, and all
Yeah.
municipal tap water is treated the same, whether it's Chicago, New York, Flint, Michigan,
Yeah.
Vancouver, wherever you think your water is good. It's 1970s or older technology. They're
Yeah.
mechanically separating poop. Let's be blunt. That's what it is. They
Yep.
take it out of the water. They kill it with chlorine and UV so that you
Mhm.
don't get sick overnight. But
Yeah.
nobody's talking about the pesticides that are in there, your neighbor's birth control, the forever chemicals, heavy metals, haloacetic acids,
Yep. Trihalomethanes. Yeah, absolutely.
one contaminants that they're like, well, it doesn't show any evidence that it makes you sick overnight. Not our problem. And
Yeah.
now to go back and reverse that, they'd have to say, hey, for the last 40 years, your water hasn't been great. And we knew about it. And we
Yep.
chose to do nothing about that. Like, how well would that go? So now it's just like, keep it status quo. No, your water's fine, folks. We don't
Mhm.
want that panic. Everything's good. But your water is
Yeah.
not good. And like you said in a previous episode, in our lifetime, there will never be a point where we don't need water filtration. It's sad. We
Yep.
entrusted people to take care of this stuff for us. They didn't. And now here we are. So let's
Yep.
talk about what we can do.
Well, and I mean, still, don't panic because that doesn't help anything. Just
Yeah.
do something about it. In the world, there's many different problems. For every problem, there is a solution. When it comes to your health, hydration is one of the most important pillars of all and the foundation to optimal health. And so making sure that you filter your water is a pretty big problem that you want to find a solution for. Unfortunately, we do have solutions for it. It's funny, before we get into the filtration, I came across a study not too long ago that if you live within 1 to 3 miles of a golf course, your risk of Parkinson's disease increases by 126% because they use weed killers, glyphosate, and that gets into your water source, and then that causes havoc in your gut, and between the gut brain axis, that's where you end up developing neuroinflammation, which that's just one of many problems that happens when you damage your gut with glyphosate, when you don't filter your water properly.
And then you start leading into cognitive impairment, dysfunctions like Alzheimer's and things like that, even like brain fog. A lot of people are like, yeah, I wake up with brain fog. It's coming from our toxic lifestyles and all the things around us. Even if we eat clean and watch the kind of soap we use and do as much as we possibly can, you have polluted air outside. You have VOCs coming off the dashboard of your car from your carpeting, your paint. Even the paint, it's low VOC. There's still VOC in the paint, right?
Yeah.
So it's like air filtration. It's 1,000 things, but it's literally death by 1,000 cuts that when you go to the doctor and you're sick, they can't quite figure out what it is. It's because it's not one thing.
It's everything.
It's everything.
Everything is wrong.
Yeah.
So
let's get into water
it's
here.
A sad reality.
There was a popular appearance of Gary Brecka on the Joe Rogan podcast talking about tap water. So we played it on our last episode, but for those of you who haven't seen it, we'll refresh you about Joe Rogan's opinion on tap water. Then we'll show you a couple of common things people are doing as far as filtration. We'll talk about the good and the bad, and then we'll offer you some of our own suggestions a little later. But here is the Joe Rogan Experience or the Joe Rogan Experience?
The JRE, Joe Rogan Experience.
JRE. All right. Well, here's Joe Rogan's opinion on tap water.
Today should be the day that you never drink tap water again. Right,
because I have a friend who lives in New York City. He's like, New York City has the best tap water. I said, shut the fuck up. You should never drink that shit. And I was trying to explain to him about fluoride. And it goes in one ear, out the other. You sound like a kook.
You did.
Fluoride's bad. Fluoride's good for your teeth. Like, how do you know? Why are you saying that? Do you know it's bad for you?
Yeah.
What? Fluoride's bad for you. Fluoride's associated with low IQ.
Yes.
Do you know the higher the dose of fluoride in the drinking water, the lower the town IQ is? For real.
Yeah.
People go, Garrett, come on. Why would they do that?
Yeah, it's a neurotoxin.
Right, but why are they still dumping that? Is it just some sort of a predatory relationship that the fluoride manufacturers
Well, I mean,
have?
now think of the position that you're in. You're a municipality and like, well, guys, we've been giving you this fluoridated water for 25 years and it's cancer-causing neurotoxin. We're going to go ahead and pull that out. Imagine what that would, I mean, it's public panic.
But that's real.
It's absolutely real. You know, I got censored.
So we know the tap water is bad. The most common first step most people make, or even people that know their water bad, is they buy a pitcher style filter. Like, well, at least it's, or they're like, I'm good. I'm drinking from my fridge, which is just a basic charcoal filter. There's many variations of this. Some look like a fish bowl with a tap. Some are a pitcher. I've got one here somewhere, the Brita style. But basically, they're just charcoal filtration. Not only do they not get out what they should, some of them even add some negative things back to the water. So I found a clip here. This is an online influencer talking about the myth of Brita water. So let's check that out.
I used to use a Brita water filter to get my water, and then I realized they're not really that good at all. In fact, they're pretty horrible. A recent study showed that a Brita water filter only gets out 12 and 14% of lead and arsenic. Those are heavy metals out of your water, and it increased the amount of aluminum in your water. That's not good. Aluminum is associated with dementia in population studies. Furthermore, Brita water filters don't get out fluoride, a substance that's been associated with lower IQs in kids when kids drink water with fluoride in it. They don't get out forever chemicals, PFAs. They don't get out microplastics. If you really want to filter your water, and you should do that for better health, use a reverse osmosis filter with sea salt to remineralize the water. That system is more expensive than a Brita pitcher, yes, but your health is the best long-term investment that you could ever make, and you will definitely be healthier drinking reverse osmosis water with sea salt than getting water from this.
Yes, I have something to say about that. I agree with him in many cases. Brita at best removes basically the smell and taste of chlorine. Doesn't even remove chlorine itself. When it comes to, I've got a bit of a different opinion when it comes to adding sea salt to your water. The main electrolyte that you're going to be getting from that is sodium. We do not have a problem with sodium in our diet. I would say if we're going to add minerals, look for potassium would be the best electrolyte for you.
Our next video will show it. We're going to get into where do you go from Brita. He mentioned reverse osmosis. They've been around 30 years, those older systems. There are some issues with some of them. I will sort of show you a diagram. So this is a typical reverse osmosis system. So not only is it a time bomb, there are upwards of 6 to 9 filters if you get a good one. They need to be replaced annually. You have to hire a professional plumber to come and do it. Also, it's a giant holding tank because it's a very low flow system. Those tanks also lose their charge and need to be replaced. And the resulting water is always going to be room temperature, and it's going to come out of the tap at a very, very low rate. And your under counter will look like this. I mean, maybe this is just a bad one, but here's another one. Like, you have no more space, and you have 101 parts that could potentially break.
It's ridiculous. I mean, just to change your filters, you're going to probably need a plumber to come in and do that.
You will need a plumber because they have special tools. You got to shut off the water main. Most people don't want to break their machine or do damage. And so if you look at it, one of those systems might be $500 or $600, right? But in the long chain, you're spending $300 a year in filters and $200 to the plumber. So it's costing you $500 a year. In 3 years' time, you spent $1,500 on old technology. You're better to just buy a machine for around the same money that has cheap filters. You can change them yourself. Much longer life and much higher level of filtration.
It's a lot like buying a printer, right? You know, it's not the printer cost of the printer. It's how much the ink costs after, and how much of it, like how often are you going to have to change it, like that. There is more than just one question. One thing I will give that first system that you showed a little bit of credit. It looks like their remineralization filter looks almost like ours. Now I can't guarantee it's like ours, but I will give them a nod there.
Yeah, and you're referring to the sort of burgundy horizontal filter sitting on the top of the machine. So what it could be is like what we have here, which is natural remineralization. So these are called lifespan stones. They have over 27 essential, trace, and ultra trace minerals that they can add back to the water. They're not very large. You can get them different sizes, and I'll show you what ours looks like as well, because to your point, sodium is the electrolyte we need to be hydrated. But we're not sodium deficient because there's salt in everything in our diet. Even if we didn't add more, there's a ton. It's the magnesium, the potassium, the phosphorus, the copper. It's all of these things on the left here. iron, manganese, zinc, cobalt, molybdenum.
it's incredible.
Like our body needs them. And even if it's like 0.01%, that's the percentage our body is looking for. And there also is liquid drops too, which people can use.
The like Aussie trace minerals.
Yes.
There's a few different ways that there is you can do the Celtic sea salt. Also, just make sure that you're sourcing that properly.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, when it comes to minerals in your water, the biggest part of why minerals are important into your water is because water carries energy. It carries an electric charge, and those minerals help with the conduciveness or the conductivity of that water. It helps it keep that electrical charge, which then transfers into you. And if for like Louis saying, like, when it comes to, like, if you think you're getting your daily source of minerals from your water, you'd probably drown yourself before you got that. You still need to properly, make sure you get proper mineral intake. The minerals in your water are about the conductive charge to the water more than anything.
That's right. Our brain runs on electricity. So without, electrolytes, there is no electricity. So you basically have a flat battery if you don't have that in your blood system and working within your cells. The calcium and magnesium we need for our bones and our tissue is a much higher amount than you would get from ever drinking the water. In fact, if you drank water that had enough magnesium and calcium in it, you'd probably get kidney stones before the benefits from that.
And that water would taste horrific.
It would taste very, very, it would have a fishy smell because magnesium. If anybody's taking magnesium or calcium supplements that are combined, I take one with butyrate for gut health. It smells like rotten fish. And it could do the same to your water. So I do have a lady who made a video about how she installed reverse osmosis in her home. This is one of the older systems, but just to give you an idea, this is what a lot of people are doing. And then we'll get into 2025 and where has technology gone and what can you actually get now in terms of space saving, efficacy, and everything else. So here's a lady who built a house. They actually created their own sink just for drinking, with the sole purpose of just being a filtration portion of their kitchen. So let's check that out.
We had the reverse osmosis water filter installed when we were building our home, and we installed it under what we call the drink sink. We use the sink just for drinking. The water does come out room temperature, and we love the reverse osmosis. It does take away all the bad stuff. I think it's like 99% of all the bad, but while doing so, it also takes away some of the good. So we have to add these mineral drops back in so that we can get the calcium and magnesium and a few other things back in the water. But overall, we would do it again because we love this system and we feel like the water tastes really good. The system cost, I think it was about $500, and then of course to get it installed you're gonna have to have your plumber do it, or maybe you can do it yourself, but it just attaches to the plumbing underneath the sink.
So that's, again, your typical RO, massive tank, lukewarm water, very low flow. I think some of those are flowing at like 300 to 400 gallons a day. It'll never be cold, and there will come a time where you turn on the tap and there's no water because it's still slowly making it. So now technology has gone to on-demand systems, direct connect to your plumbing, flip the faucet, and you have cold, properly filtered water. And then we'll even get into a system that we're now offering that adds hydrogen, the antioxidant benefit and health benefits of hydrogen as well. So let's just get into a little bit of sort of the differences. Excuse me. So our new system is on the left here. It is called the HYD-RO. So this is a reverse osmosis filtration system. We'll give you the highest level of filtration available on the market, which is 1/10,000th of a micron. Put that in perspective. The width of a human hair is about 70 microns. So this is
7 million times.
Yeah, this will capture particles 7 million times smaller. Like, we can't even fathom. If
everything.
You took a car and made it 100 times smaller, it would be like a penny. So take anything that's already small and make it 7 million times smaller. We really can't visualize what that looks like. But basically, it takes everything out of the water, minerals included, hence the importance of remineralizing. So this system here has a double faucet. The faucet on either the left or right will give you reverse osmosis water. The other one will give you hydrogen-enriched water at maximum saturation, which we'll get into a little bit later as well. But the beauty about this thing here, you got maximum filtration, maximum hydrogen. It is a tankless design. It's space saving. It'll fit, north and south orientation or east and west, as long as you got room under your countertop. We haven't had anybody that this hasn't fit in yet, so that's a good thing. Again, we added 27 trace minerals. You get antioxidant benefit from this, improved memory,
3-second filter changes.
3-second filter change. These are the filters here. It is one massive 4-stage filter. It comes with a nice carry handle. So all you would really do is you would remove the lid, that little black, I don't know if I can point at it here.
Yeah.
The little black lid right on the top comes off. And then inside you have a hydrogen generator, which looks like this. So that is where the water flows through to add hydrogen to the water itself. And then you have this filter. And essentially, it's plugged in vertically. You twist it, pull it out, plug the new one in, twist it back. That's it. Don't have to hire a plumber. You can install the unit yourself, too. You don't have to hire a plumber if you're handy with those things.
Yeah.
Although for legal reasons, we recommend professional installation.
100%.
So somebody doesn't.
Yeah, and I mean, we installed that a machine a couple weeks ago, like I said, in Mission there, and it took it from getting there, getting the tools, figuring it all out, where the faucet was going and everything. It took us less than an hour.
And that includes drilling a hole for the tap to go in as well.
Yep.
They didn't already have it.
and getting the but other than that, I mean, like other than drilling the hole, like I am like the opposite of a handyman, and I can install this machine. It is very easy. So any skilled plumber is going to be able to do this very quickly and very easily.
So again, too, this comes in conjunction with a mineral filter that we mentioned earlier. I have a quick clip of the mineral filter here. So this is a video of me just running some water through the stones to get them kind of lubricated and then letting it soak for a few minutes. We recommend doing that so that you don't put any negative back pressure on the system. If you have a water system with plumbing and now you're trying to force it through a dry block of stones, it could back up slightly. We don't want to damage your system. So by soaking it, it allows that water to flow quickly. So this is what it looks like. So you basically just run it through your tap. You see the stones in the filter there, and then you let it soak for, 5 minutes or so. So this would go after the installation of the main system itself.
Yeah, it would go in the line that goes from the machine up to the faucet.
Yeah.
Now,
and you can have one or two so that you can mineralize either the reverse osmosis filtered water or the hydrogen or both. So we can customize it to our customers' preference.
Yep.
Okay. In terms of, again, some of the benefits, this will get rid of over 99.99% of contaminants in your water. The only thing it might leave is a tiny amount of trace mineral elements, which is not a big deal. This is a self-flushing, self-cleaning system. So instead of every year, this filter lasts 2 to 4 years because the machine, after you've done filtering and filling a glass of water or a jug, it will run a little bit of water through this membrane and purify the membrane. So it's like a brand new filter every single time you turn on the machine. Therefore, it lasts way longer than a typical machine.
Yeah, that is really, really impressive. When, like I said, going back to the printer and the ink replacement, the 3,100 gallons it's going to last, and it's that easy to change when you need to change it. When it comes to the hydrogen, me and my hydrogen, I love it. We've also got the Hydro Boost 6000 or a portable hydrogen bottle that will, with a 20-minute cycle, create super saturated hydrogen water, which is what this machine does at 1 liter per minute. So what this machine is doing, if you were to try to get 1 liter of hydrogen water from a bottle, that would take 80 minutes. This is doing it.
Or you would need 4 bottles running for 20 minutes.
Yeah. And in that case, just get yourself the machine.
Just buy the machine. Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Here are some of the competitive benefits. So you take a look at your conventional RO system on the right, and you look at ours on the left. So space saving, we definitely win there. Tankless design, they don't exist in traditional RO. Digital display, we do have a display screen on the machine itself, which will display how much hydrogen is being made and the negative ORP.
I love
we'll
that.
Explain that as well. Hydrogen on demand, the only system on the market right now that will make hydrogen on demand like this is ours. Nobody else has this yet. I'm sure in the future there will be a lot of competition models. But for right now, nobody has a machine with this much filtration and this much hydrogen. Again, we mentioned 3-second filter changes, easy to install, and the addition of trace minerals. And in terms of the cost of filters, we sell them at our cost. Yeah. So we don't want somebody to buy make an investment and then say, man, the filters are $500 a year. Our cheapest filters are roughly $35 for some of our RO systems. This filter here is $150 Canadian. So what's that, like $119 American? Yep. Every 2 to 5 years. That is it. There's no maintenance. There's no long chain cost. We sell them for what we buy them for because we want to sell more units. We want people to not be turned off by needing to hire a technician, the cost of filters, the repetitiveness of, man, it's June again. We got to change all the filters. And with these older systems like this, how do you know when the filter's done? You're guessing. Yeah,
exactly.
You're like, it's been a year.
You have to put a reminder in your phone once a year to.
Yeah, but you might have 6 more months left on those things. If you're not if you're not a household full of 4 or 5 people, the filter will last longer than a household.
Exactly. It's not the time; it's the usage of the filter
and the weight. Right? I mean, we could be throwing away perfectly good filters prematurely. Our system has filter reminder, so you know exactly when it's time to change it. Not too soon, not too late. And that's one
thing that was missed in there too was the wastewater. For a traditional reverse osmosis system, it's going to, for every liter of water you create, that filtered water you create, you're wasting 4 liters. And so this tankless system will waste 70% less.
Yeah, 71.25 is the actual stat compared to even other tankless systems as well.
Awesome.
So it's we want to make it
instead of 4 to 1, you're at a 1 to 1. I mean, it is what it is. You're always going to have some wastewater. For every action, there is a reaction. Yeah. But that's what.
And in this case, the wastewater is being used to help flush the membrane as well. It's not just it's not wasting it; it's being used. There's a difference. If I drink a glass of water, I didn't waste that glass of water. I used that glass of water for a purpose. So the wastewater in this case is not actually waste; it is serving additional benefit. And we talk about ORP and hydrogen water. For those of you looking at us like we got 3 heads, we know. Please watch some previous episodes we've made because we really break down what is hydrogen, why it's important, how you can uptake it into your system, some of the health benefits. So we don't want to spend the whole episode today on hydrogen. But for those of you who know, it's a very good thing. It's non-toxic. Everybody should be drinking it and inhaling it daily. It helps with over 300 different disease models. And there's like 3,000 different studies on the benefits of hydrogen. But that's not for today. We just want to explain hydrogen water, how you can now take your properly filtered water and level that up to now beginning to get almost a medicinal benefit, a therapeutic benefit from your water.
Definitely a therapeutic benefit at that level. I mean, the studies have shown that you don't need a huge amount of hydrogen, but the hydrogen that you get from this at your fingertips is absolutely incredible. Those customers from a couple of weeks ago have already mentioned a number of different benefits that they've both been seeing, and I'm really happy to see and hear and look forward to following up with them in another month or so.
For sure. So here again is Gary Brecka. Now, Gary does also sell products, full disclosure. He sells hydrogen products and he has a hydrogen bottle. But again, we're not here to promote or slam products per se. We're just here to educate and give you the raw goods. We encourage everybody to go do their own research. Every system we sell, we have done it with the intent of nobody will ever have to just take our word for it. Science says this is what you need. These are the limits. These are the thresholds. We have machinery that does that, and then it's third-party tested to keep the manufacturer honest to make sure it does, in fact, do that. So we're not here to try to sell anything. This isn't, like I said, a paid podcast, more information than anything. But here is Gary Brecka explaining a little bit about hydrogen water, why it's good, and what ORP and how that benefits your body and what that all actually means.
Hydrogen water is by far the most beneficial water you can put in the human body. Full stop. End of story. Again, I get a lot of flack about this too. There is a website, I think you even pulled it up, hydrogenstudies.com. So don't take my word for it. Go to hydrogenstudies.com. You'll see there's about 1,335 peer-reviewed studies on this site. Not all of them are specific to hydrogen water. Some are specific to hydrogen gas. I'm also a huge fan of hydrogen gas. You can actually bathe in hydrogen gas too. I mean, you want to talk about a recovery tool. Knees, hips, shoulders, rotator cuff, any kind of inflammation, arthritis. You can bathe in hydrogen water. If you have any kind of skin condition, scleroderma, psoriasis, eczema, just Google hydrogen gas and scleroderma, hydrogen gas and psoriasis or eczema, you will be astounded at what you can do by using this harmless gas to enhance your physiology. You could also use hydrogen tablets, if you didn't want to spring for a hydrogen water bottle, but this will negate all the effects of travel. It will reduce delayed onset muscle soreness. It'll improve the absorption of your vitamins, minerals, amino acids, all the nutrients that are passing through your gut. It provides the hydrogen gas that a whole class of bacteria in your gut require. And if you deselect out the animal studies and just look at the human studies on this site, you'll just be astounded. You'll be like, where has hydrogen water been all my life? It is by far the most beneficial liquid hack that you can use in the body. Just try drinking hydrogen water for a week.
What is it that you get from that?
So it adds hydrogen gas to the water, right? And hydrogen gas is harmless to human beings. I mean, the majority, we're actually 60, I forget what exact percentage hydrogen by weight. H2O has 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen. So very often when we talk about whether or not something is an antioxidant, right? It neutralizes free radicals. It is donating electrons to neutralize a free radical. So you get a lot of what's called negative ORP, negative oxidative reduction potential. When you look at the potential for something to reduce oxidation, or the potential for something to reduce inflammation or reduce free radicals, you measure this by something called negative ORP, the negative oxidative reduction potential. If you look at tap water, it has a positive ORP, which means it is pro-inflammatory. If you look at hydrogen water, it has a negative 600 ORP. So this means it has hundreds of times more potential to reduce inflammation than tap water.
Okay, so ORP, first of all, love on the hydro that with the hydrogen water you see the negative ORP, and then on the positive side, on the filtered side, it does change to positive 250. That is what our tap water comes in at. It says a positive ORP. But I talk about our ORP all the time because I deal with people in another company that sell alkaline water ionizers that talk about the ORP like it's the end all be all. It is an important factor, but it is definitely not the end all be all and can be manipulated in many different ways.
Sure.
First of all, ORP is oxidation reduction potential. So unless the hydrogen is present and dissolved into the water, then it's not going to live up to its potential. Is it going to be oxidizing for your body? No, you can guarantee that at least. But alkaline water created from alkaline ionizers can have a pH of, let's say, 9.5. And no hydrogen at all, but still come in as a negative 600 to 800. I've seen with that, because the alkalinity in the pH has an impact on that. Whereas if you bring the our system back up, our system is creating 1.4 to 1.8 part per million supersaturated hydrogen water, but you can see on the screen it says negative 450 for the ORP, and that's because our machine doesn't change the pH at all, but because of the content of hydrogen in there, you're getting that negative ORP, but it's actually less than water that is 9.5 pH with absolutely no hydrogen in it, but a negative 800 ORP.
There's things that can change ORP, like you said. Having a negative ORP, but the absence of hydrogen means nothing. It's pH affects ORP, temperature affects ORP, and mineral source in the water also affects ORP, because it's like an electrical current. It's the reverse kind of. I mean, there's an EC, electrical conductivity. You can buy meters that test for that as well, but you'll see the EC values are kind of in tandem with ORP values. We don't want to get too complicated and blow people's head off. The point we're trying to make is yes, you need a negative ORP, but you can achieve that without having any real antioxidant power of the water. It's the hydrogen that makes the biggest difference.
Yeah, I'm not trying to overcomplicate things. I just want people to understand that there are some big differences, and there are companies out there that use this ORP as a massive competitive advantage that it's actually not. That's all I'm trying to say here is just, know what that means, know what's going on. I'm down with ORP, like down with OPP, but unless you don't really know anything about it, then I'm not really down.
Yeah. And in terms of education resources, they did mention hydrogenstudies.com. This doesn't have every hydrogen study in the world ever done. It's got about 1,300 and change. There's also the Molecular Hydrogen Institute, which we are fans of. These companies don't make or sell or endorse any products. They simply give you the straight goods on hydrogen. And, in the world right now, there's about 3,000 of these studies, mainly coming from Asia. I saw a pie chart, which I should have clipped, but it didn't dawn on me, about a week ago. And it said, where is the volume of these studies being performed? And like 80% was Japan and Asia. And then there was even countries like in Europe that were doing more studies than USA and Canada. So I hate to say it.
I think the University of Serbia, they do some exercise studies.
That's right.
I've seen quite a few studies come from all different parts of Asia, and it's definitely interesting to see. I mean, one thing about hydrogen too is it's a molecule. You can't patent it. You can patent the things that make it, but I do believe that is one of the things that has inhibited the progress of hydrogen. But it's at this point, I mean, it's not it's not consensus through the scientific community yet, but it's damn near. I mean, meta-analyses are coming out all over the place. That's just, combinations of studies to create even bigger and better, more elaborate results. And so, I mean, and we've helped how many people around with hydrogen therapy. It's incredible what can be done. As I've said many times, if whether you're an Olympic athlete trying to get a gold medal, or you're a mom that has stage 4 cancer that just wants to be there for your family and your kids, and everyone in between, there is an application for hydrogen therapy. I mean, it's like you said, death by 1,000 cuts. And what we want is to get back to basics, reestablish that balance that many people have lost, and then from there we can see what it's like to live an optimal lifestyle.
Yeah, and there's so many different areas you could improve in terms of your health, everything from skeletal benefits, people with arthritis. Again, oxidative stress leads to inflammation. Inflammation leads to most of the diseases that we are afflicted with, even things for your eyes, even from a beauty and sort of an anti-aging point of view. Your skin is your biggest organ, your biggest detox organ. People are putting expensive creams on their face to remove oxidative stress. If you can remove the oxidation from your body, it will naturally show with clearer, shinier, healthier skin, just as a byproduct of being more hydrated with the right type of water, the right minerality, and the hydrogen antioxidant powers that go along with that. And then the real, big ones like cardiovascular, your brain, people suffering from cancer, even the side effects of treatment, chemotherapy, radiation. Some people say that, I don't know, like I have talked to people who are in remission that said, if the cancer didn't kill me, the chemo sure as hell was going to. Like, it's that aggressive of a, and that's why a lot of people
I've heard that 70% of oncologists wouldn't take chemo. I mean, that is an important factor for hydrogen that should be mentioned, is that it's not meant to replace any treatments. It's meant to work in coordination and enhance everything that you're doing. That's the beautiful part about hydrogen, is it's safe for you to apply and it will actually help with other treatments, especially when it comes to heart disease.
Yeah. And even if you're just a health nut, a gym buff, somebody who's taking lots of supplements and very concerned about their health, hydrogen will help you get more out of your supplements because it makes things more bioavailable. Hence the importance of using very clean water with hydrogen gas, because you don't want to make chlorine and all the junk that's in your tap water more bioavailable, as we mentioned earlier. So
do not participate in hydrogen water or hydrogen therapy until you get your filtration taken care of. If you don't filter your water, you become the filter for your water. And I cannot say that enough times.
Yeah. And we have a whole host of products that you can see on our website. We are proudly Canadian, so our website is tech4health.ca. Although it's disappointing, most of our clients are in the not in Canada. They're in the States, they're in Europe, they're in Australia. A lot of people that are very forefront at the, in the health world and doing all the work and research. And we need to wake up a little bit more in our end of the woods. And a lot of people in our own circles, you tell them about hydrogen water, they're like, isn't there hydrogen in water? Like, so let's just clear that up right now. Yes, there is hydrogen in water, but it is bonded with oxygen. It is H2O. So it is not available to bond with anything else. We have free radicals in our body, which are broken pieces of molecule that have neither positive or negative charge. So our body can't get rid of them. So by putting additional hydrogen ions in the water, they will then be able to bond with those negative particles, and things like, dimutase or superoxide or hydroxyl, very cell damaging free radicals, get neutralized into water. And it's one of the only therapies that can do it without any side effects, without any toxic limit. So the whole point of hydrogen water is that it will react with free radicals in your body. And whatever it can't react with, if your body is clean of those toxins, you'll simply just exhale the gas. So there is no limit. You do need to get enough. There is a threshold of this is not enough to be considered therapeutic. Unfortunately, a lot of the water bottles, Gary Brecka's got one. We've got one. Seems like everybody's got one. Most of them don't deliver a therapeutic dose. Most of them, you'd have to drink 25 bottles a day to even come close to that. So buyer beware in the world of hydrogen water bottles. Now in inhalation and things like that, there's a lot of really good systems on the market. And we have the full gamut on our website. So check it out. If you do have questions, please reach out to us. Let's see if I got a banner here with our email address. Or you can just leave a comment down below. That'll work. We're also
info@tech4health.ca, or you can message us on Facebook or Instagram. Or, I mean, it's 2025. There's multiple different ways to connect with us: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, email. And I just do want to just clarify, just so we have all of our information out there correctly. It is the hydroxyl radical and the peroxynitrite radical that the hydrogen is meant to. So the superoxide dismutase (SOD) is actually one of the free radicals that it does leave alone.
That's right. Yeah, it's a good free radical.
Same with catalase, and there's another one that's slipping my mind, but it's primarily the hydroxyl radical and the peroxynitrite. The hydroxyl radical is actually phenomenal because when it neutralizes it converts it into water, which hydrates you at a cellular level and allows your body an easy way to expel the now neutralized free radical out.
And even if you're not full of free radicals, you still have mitochondria that will eventually get old and not be as strong and doesn't help your cells reproduce as well as when you were younger. So
that's the thing about the hydroxyl radical is that there will never be a time where you don't have that in your body because it's the byproduct to ATP production and the energy being used in your body. So what hydrogen ends up being is like the best muffler and catalytic converter system that you can put on your vehicle so that the exhaust from the energy being used in your vehicle doesn't pollute the planet or your body in the form of oxidative stress.
Yeah, it's we burn calories. One of the byproducts of that is something that the fact that we're alive and we're metabolizing calories will always have a byproduct, right? So this is
for every action there's a reaction.
And even people keep in mind too, there's so many different ways to take hydrogen, right? You can inhale it, you can bathe in it, you can drink in it, but there's also different systems that will allow different parts of your body to absorb it, like your eyes, your ears, your scalp. So we have systems that are not just deliver hydrogen, they're full spectrum hydrogen therapy where multiple people can use it. Your pets can use it. You can deal with eye issues, ear issues. You can create your own water and obviously inhale your own gas. Check it all out. It's here, tech4health.ca. And with that, we'll call it a day here. Any final thoughts, Shane, before we wrap?
No, just make sure that no matter where you are in the world, that you are filtering your water. It is what it is. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but we need to filter our water. I'll also be the bearer of good news. We have phenomenal solutions for you. So
yeah,
reach out with
just
any
because
questions.
it's clear does not mean it's clean. And let's try to
Bam.
remember that. Thank you for joining us today, folks. We'll see you on the next one.